First of all, thanks for the great turnout today and for being here, as always. And thanks to the I-Club, Gary, everybody involved with that, band, Spirit Squad, great job again. Spirit Squad cleaned up on the prizes today, so nice job there. And it's always great to have Rabbi Portman with us. It always gives me a good feeling. His record's a lot better than mine, I know that. Way better, so great to have him. And I want to thank Fran. Fran's given me way too much credit with Woodbury. You know, it's just really neat to meet his family, but I think really the secret, Fran's recruited extremely well, be it high profile, or a guy like White who maybe wasn't as high profile. A big part of recruiting is being able to identify players that are going to fit in to what you're doing, and I don't think there's any doubt. We've already seen evidence of that out on the court, and then adding some of the players that they've added most recently, it's just really going to be exciting to watch this team continue to grow and improve. And you know, everything has its stages, has its process. I don't think there's any doubt where our basketball program is headed right now. And I think well beyond that, maybe something I appreciate even more, being here 20 plus years now, just the quality of addition Fran and Mark have been, and their family have been to our community, and the fit that he's been in our program, because it's, as he alluded to, that's a huge part of, I think, why these programs have been successful throughout the years. And I know it was that way in the 80s, and it's great, Fran, to have you guys with us again. So best of luck to you. I can also tell you, I know Fran watches football. Norm sat with him in the box up at Northern Illinois. Norm said he's an outstanding fan. My guess his focus has kind of shifted here in the last 7 days to something else, and I fully appreciate that as he starts to build the team and get them ready for a challenging year. So it's absolutely outstanding. Also want to congratulate Casey for being the first one to be recognized. And the first statement I make, I'm glad I wasn't on the committee that had to decide, okay, who's number one going up on that board, because we just have so many tremendous candidates. Might have a couple sitting right out in the audience here. You know, I get Kroll and Humple back there. Just so many great players that have come through that have backgrounds with farming, and I can't think of a guy more fitting than Casey. His record, his streak of games played, not only games played, but plays played, consecutive plays played. You didn't miss one last year, right? So, you know, from 9/11 on, he played every snap in every game of every, in the National Football League, playing center, not wide receiver, not on the flanks, but right there in the center of things. I don't know how that would equate to a Cal Ripken. There's got to be some kind of a comparison there. It's just an unbelievable record. But beyond that, the thing, and I've never had the pleasure of working with Casey as a coach, but every time I've met him, it's just been so impressive when he's back in the office. He always takes time to see everybody, you know, equipment staff, the trainers, Amy Thomas, who's been with us close to 30 years, maybe 30 years, and I don't want to embarrass Amy. But he takes time to come back and connect with everybody. And both he and Aaron Campman last May, we were doing a community service project up in Cedar Rapids, at a park out beyond Cedar Rapids. And he and Aaron spent the better part of the day, 8 hours plus, I guess, out there in weather like we had at Michigan State last week, a rainy, cold day, doing some pretty dirty, you know, hard labor, basically. They spent 8 hours with our guys, and then gave an instructional talk, or a little bit of a motivational talk that evening. So those are things that he's done behind the scenes, guys like he and Aaron. We've had a lot of other guys contribute in that way, and that's, again, I think what makes playing at Iowa so special and being part of the program so special. So we certainly appreciate that, Casey. Congratulations to you. Several other people recognize. Great to have Malcolm back. Malcolm's back, and from the East Coast, Jersey City guy. And I was telling somebody yesterday, I remember during the recruiting process, first of all, Malcolm's mom is all world. She's a tremendous person. But I remember from Malcolm's, the gym office there at the school he went to, it's one of the few places I've ever been where you could look out the window and see the Statue of Liberty and the Empire State Building. So it's that was kind of a neat thing, going back there with Bernie Wyatt to recruit Malcolm, just a tremendous young man. And he's done a great job since leaving here. So again, that's part of what this university is all about. Malcolm, great to have you back here. Now he's on the West Coast. You can look a little more West Coast-ish too, you know? Pretty smooth ever since you got back. Always great to have the Stewart family here. Really appreciate you guys continuing to support in such a fine fashion, and great to have you guys here. And you couldn't have found a better recipient than Connor. you've had a lot of great recipients through the years. I can't speak to a lot of them being other sports, but certainly when we talk about somebody that we know a little bit closer, it's just outstanding to see Connor recognized. And we had a little bit of a dilemma a year ago. You were trying to find a punter that was as big as Guthrie, Eric Guthrie, and that limited the pool a lot. So it took us to West Virginia. First time ever for us, and maybe first time in the history of the program. We could research that one. But Connor coincidentally came onto our radar probably a year and a half ago. We were just so impressed with him, and ironically, his mom and dad both went to UConn, where I went. They're a little bit younger than I am, but they're not grandparents yet, right, Connor? So, and I think it's probably great that you don't know a lot about Connor right now because he is a true freshman out there playing a really high pressure position. And it's kind of like being a deep snapper. If you don't notice the punter, the snapper a lot, that's a good thing. And Connor stepped in and done a great job. We had a tremendous punter, Ryan Donahue, a year ago. Then Eric Guthrie stepped in, and I thought that was one of the great stories of the year in the Big Ten last year, the job that Eric did. And now Connor's assumed those reins. Really did a great job competing in camp, and it was pretty clear to us 7-10 days into it that he was going to be our punter this year, and he's done a great job. And as you've learned, is a tremendous student, just a tremendous person, and I don't think we've had a better mom, more enthusiastic mom than his mom. So they've just been tremendous people, and really appreciate it. It's great to see you recognized, Connor, so congratulations on that. Last but not least, I want to recognize certainly Jeff, Bob, and Steve being with us from the Insight Fiesta Bowl. They've hosted us the last 2 years down there, and Steve is an Iowa guy, Iowa grad, Dubuque native, and very enthusiastic. I think we've certainly converted Jeff and Bob. I think that's fair to say at this point. We have been treated so well at every bowl trip that we've gone. John Streif and I always talk. When we pull off, John always tells me, I don't think it's ever going to be any better than this. And that is certainly how we felt coming out of the Orange Bowl a couple of years ago. And believe it or not, the Insight Bowl topped it twice. I mean, these guys have just gone above and beyond. They have been absolutely fantastic. And so it's really great to have you guys back. And I think you guys have a good record too, don't you? So, and Kenny, so it's great to have you back. But more importantly, it's just been really great to all of our players and certainly the coaching staff. So we appreciate that. Thank you. Just getting into football real quickly. It's interesting. It's been about 3 weeks, I think, since we've been together. It's going to be another 3 weeks, just the way the scheduling's worked out. But very quickly, certainly getting back on our feet against Minnesota, our first Big Ten game, was outstanding. Our crowd couldn't have been better, more supportive. So that was a great start to the Big Ten season. Obviously, a big one for our football team, and the guys really did a great job, I think, responding. And maybe as good as anything during that game, our special teams really came to life a little bit. We worked hard on that. We've been working hard on that. And I think some of that investment finally showed up out there in the field. The bye week gave us an opportunity to continue to work on some things, rest some of the guys that played a lot of snaps, but also continue to work on some things that we really deem as areas that we need to improve in and have an opportunity to improve. And also continue to work with our younger players to try to bring them along, because they're really going to be critical to our success. Fran kind of alluded to that, getting people ready to step in when those opportunities step up. And then, we had a tough task last week traveling up to Michigan State to play a very tough team, a very aggressive team. And, certainly that was a good win for us. To win in the Big Ten on the road against a good opponent is always good. I think if you go back to the game up there in 09, it's parallel in a lot of ways, because it was a really hard-fought win. It was a defensive ball game, and, we came up with a drive at the end of the 09 game to seal it. We didn't have to go into overtime that day, but basically that was the only touchdown drive that we had in the game. And last week was very similar. We were up against it, playing a tough opponent, and the play that Vandenberg and Keenan Davis hooked up on, to me, really was the turning point of the game. It gave us an opportunity to continue, get out of a hole number one, and then go down and score. And Mark Weissman took over from there, made a great run on a third down, and then a 3rd and 5 run to put it in the end zone. And you got to give Greg Davis a lot of credit for those calls. They were great calls, and certainly Mark and the guys got the job done. So it was a really gratifying win for us. Certainly, again, I think one of the highlights was our special teams play. There was a lot of punting going on. Connor did a great job there. John Winke, his sidekick, did a great job. And, obviously, Mike Meyer, John Winke holding Casey Kreider snapping. That was a big part of the game. Particularly that last field goal that Mike hit, it was a 42-yarder, and we certainly don't take those things for granted. So there are a lot of good things, and if you're going to win a game like that, a lot of things have to come together at the right time, and I think that's the case. We move on to Penn State this week, certainly, and it's another big game. Everyone's going to be a big one for us, and everyone's going to be really tough. We know that going in. We know that standing here today. And really, this is the only one that counts. So we've got the same captains from last week. We've got James Vanderberg, James Ferentz offensively, and two junior linebackers. We've got James Morris and Chris Kirk on the defensive side, same four from last week. And then speaking of A&F awards, Robert Dowdy will be in town for the ball game. He actually came back a week ago, Wednesday, just to spend time at home and work with his dad out in the fields. Talked to him 2 nights ago, and it was just a great thing for him to do. And I'm not from Iowa, and I did not grow up on a farm, but I think I've got an appreciation for that lifestyle. And that was important for him to come back and have a chance to ride in the fields with his daughter Hayden and with his dad, and just kind of reconnect to the way he was brought up. And I think there's a real fabric there, a real substance. And you talk to guys like Casey, people that have that background. It's really, I think, what makes him so special. So it's going to be great to have Robert back. He's one of the finest players we've ever had. Come through here, just a tremendous person, tremendous player. He and his wife, another former athlete, obviously Becca, they're raising 2 young daughters right now and doing a great job there. So it's going to be great to have him with us. Playing Penn State, it's kind of a tale of 2 cities for them. They started out 0-2, and now they're 4-0. They've got a tremendous coaching staff. Bill O'Brien and his staff's done a great job. Their players have gone through some really interesting, adverse conditions, and have done just a fantastic job rebounding. So they're really playing well right now. It's interesting if you look at the 2 teams, kind of parallel. It's scary how many ways we do parallel. Both defenses are playing well right now. They're veteran. We're really not. But both teams have been pretty stingy getting points up. We both have running back situations that are unique. Both of our leading rushers from last year are playing somewhere else right now. And then, they moved a receiver back in. We did the same thing. Both guys got hurt. Their guy will be back tomorrow. Belton will be back running the football. Then we also dipped into the fullback pool. They've got a big guy that played very well against Northwestern. We've got Weissman. So, it's kind of interesting from that front. Both teams have 5th-year quarterbacks that I've got a tremendous amount of respect for. I think the world of James Vanderberg, obviously, and they've got a guy that's really led their football team. So, I think what you're looking at are 2 teams that are really fairly evenly matched and, parallel themselves in a lot of ways. And they're really playing well. They're really playing well. So it's going to be a great challenge for our team. We've had a good week of practice, excited about that. And, the other thing I know about this, playing night games in Kennebec is just a great place to be, period. The night games in there, I think you'd all agree, are just extremely special, an unbelievable electric atmosphere, and we're looking forward to that tomorrow. So hopefully we can add to that. So we'll look forward to seeing you. We're looking forward to the game, and looking forward to a great crowd tomorrow night. Thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.